okay? So I'm going to jump down to our first example. So this x that you see here, this is the same thing as your times plus chart. This is the same thing as this. So we're going to try to work with an x for a little bit because you might see it this way. So we take the two numbers that multiply together. Remember that the product is a times c. So when I multiply a times c, what do I get? When I multiply a times c, what do I get? 6. So I'm looking for the factors of 6 that add up to 5, the middle term. Factors of 6 that multiply together, but their factors add up to 5. So let's see. 6 and 1. 6 times 1 is 6, but 6 plus 1 is not 5. What else? It tells you right here which ones we're using. What are the factors that we're going to use? Yeah, we're going to use 3 and 2. So these are the two factors that we're going to use. So I want to show you how we split the middle, okay? So we started off with 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. And we're going to rewrite it, and we're going to replace this. We're replacing that 5x. So we rewrite it as 3x squared plus 3x plus 2x, and then plus your last digit, which is 2. So I just want to show you what we did. We took the 5x and we turned it into a 3x plus 2x. We didn't really change the problem. Zach, will you take your hood off, please, and thank you. We didn't really change the problem. What did we do? We just really rewrote 5x as 3 plus 2. And that allows us to factor by grouping. So now we are going to group these together. And here's how we group them. We put parentheses around the first two terms and then parentheses around the second two terms. And then we look for a GCF. So in that first group, in this first grouping, is there a greatest common factor? 3x. We're going to factor out a 3x from that first group. So I'm going to write divide by 3x below it, divide by 3x, so you guys can see what happens. So 3x squared divided by 3x leaves me with, let's see, the 3's cancel. Yeah, it just leaves me with an x. And 3x divided by 3x leaves me with a positive 1, right? Now I'm going to go to my next grouping. Is there a common factor there? What is the greatest common factor? This doesn't have an x in it. So it's just what? It's just 2. So that means I'm going to take out a positive 2. So I write plus 2. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Each term. 2, 2. Let's see. So 2x divided by 2 just leaves me with an x. And 2 divided by 2 leaves me with a 1. If you do this right, you have what I call the copycat. Do you have a copycat, meaning a factor that has been repeated the exact same thing? Yes or no? Yeah, you do. So the copycat comes out first. So that becomes x plus 1 times what you have left over, 3x plus 2. So this is how you factor by grouping when you have a trinomial and the leading coefficient is not 1. Okay. We're going to do this, I think, 5 more times, maybe 4 more times. All right. So let's try it again. Okay. So times side. What two numbers am I multiplying together? What am I looking for in my product? 2 times negative 11. 2 times negative 11, which is negative 22. And it has to add up to what? What's my middle term? 21. Yeah, I hear someone whispering. 21. Absolutely. Numbers that multiply together to negative 22, that when I add them, I get a positive 21. Well, they're listed right here for you. What are those two numbers that we're going to use? Negative 1 and a positive 22. Okay. So remember, we're going to take the original problem, 2x squared plus 21x minus 11. And I'm going to replace this with what? What am I replacing it with? I'm replacing it with those two factors. So I'm going to rewrite it as 2x squared minus 1x plus, that's positive, so plus 22x minus 11. So I just replaced the positive 21x with negative 1x and positive 22. If I were to add these two together, if I were to combine like terms, what is negative 1x plus 22x? It's 21x, yeah. So we didn't change the problem. We just changed the way it looked. Does that part make sense? Okay, so now what do we do? What do we do next? Yeah, we have to group them. So we're going to just put parentheses around the first two terms and the last two terms. And then I have to say to myself, okay, what is the greatest common factor between 2x squared and negative 1x? What can I divide both of these terms by? X. That's the only thing I can take out of both of them. And so when I do that, remember, we've done greatest taking out a GCF. You have to put it out front. So that comes out front with a parenthesis. And so now we're going to say to ourselves, well, what is 2x squared divided by x? Well, this has an x to the, it's just 2x, right? Because this is an x to the power of 1. Do you guys see that? And then what is a negative 1x divided by x? Just leaves me with what? Minus 1. Okay. Now let's look at the next grouping. What is the greatest common factor between 22 and negative 11? Yes, it is negative 11, but really, since they're both not negative, I'm going to take out a positive 11. I'm going to take out a positive 11. So let's do that. I'm going to divide this side by 11, and I'm going to divide this side by 11. So 22x divided by 11 gives me, well, let's see, 22 divided by 11 is 2, and the x comes along for the ride. Negative 11 divided by positive 11 is negative 1. Do I have my copycat term? I do. If we had divided by a negative 11, Logan, we wouldn't have gotten a copycat. Okay? That's why we have to divide by positive. So you take your copycat, and that comes out first. 2x minus 1. Multiplied by what is left over. What do we have left over not in the parenthesis? What's the binomial that's left over in front of both parentheses? X plus 11. So you pull out your copycat first. This is your copycat, right? You got to find that. And then you take what's left over and you turn that into a binomial. What do you think? Okay, flip it over. We're going to do 3 more. I know that you've only got 2 on your paper, but we're going to do 3 more just because I want to make sure we really understand it. Okay. So I'm going to Go to the next one. And all of the hard part, like the filling out, determining the factors, I left that in there when I copied the notes because I wanted you to not get focused on the math part, like of just trying to determine your factors. So let's see. A times C gives me what? A times C gives me negative 120. So I'm going to start with negative 120. Okay, so I have negative 120, and they have to add up to negative 7. And when I look down here, I see that the two numbers I'm using are positive 8 and negative 15. Positive 8 and negative 15. Again, I don't want to get caught up on trying to figure out what my factors are right now. I just want to make sure that we go through the method. Okay. So I'm going to take my trinomial, 6x squared minus 7x minus 20. And I'm replacing this minus 7x with what? What am I replacing that with? Yeah, the two numbers that add up to negative 7, which is a positive 8x and a negative 15x. And then I'm going to rewrite the rest of it, minus 20. So you have to understand that you're taking this negative 7x and replacing it with the two factors, because negative 15 and positive 8 equal negative 7. And I do that so that way I can have two terms to group together. I do that so I can group together my terms. So when I factor by grouping, those are my two groupings. So I have 6x squared plus 8x. What is a common factor between 6x squared and 8x? Those are all divisible by 2x. Good job. So I'm going to divide by 2x here. And I'm going to divide by 2x here. That means I have to pull that 2x out front and put a parenthesis. Let's see. 6 divided by 2 is 3. X squared divided by x is x. 8x divided by 2x is, well, my x's cancel out, and 8 divided by 2 is a positive 4. Okay. Now let's look at the next term. Logan, the next parenthesis, both terms are negative. So what can I take out of there? A negative 5. When both terms are negative, you want to take out a negative. I think we did that when we were talking about GCFs as well. So I'm taking out a negative 5, putting that up front, negative 5 parenthesis. Let's see, negative 15 to x divided by negative 5. Well, a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So I have 3x. Negative 20 divided by negative 5 is positive. It's a positive 4. Do I have a copycat? Yes, I do. 3x plus 4. So that's my first binomial. 3x plus 4 times what's left over. What do I have left over? 2x minus 5. Good job. 2x minus 5. Okay. So this next one says always look for a GCF first. So do you see something that all three of these terms are divisible by before we do anything with our times plus chart? Do you see anything that I can take out of everything? A 3. Zach says divide by 3. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. So I want you to remember that 3 has to be in our final answer. So I'm going to put it way down here just so I don't forget about it, because we're taking a 3 out. So we have to remember to put it back in when we factor it, right? So that 3 is going to be multiplied out eventually. So let's see. 6x squared divided by 3 gives me 2x squared. 9x divided by 3 gives me 3x. And negative 27 divided by 3 gives me negative 9. Okay, so time side. Time side, what am I looking for here on the time side? What two things am I multiplying together? A times C is what? It's negative 18, right? That's a negative 9, so it's negative 18. And these have to add up to B, which is what? 3. It has to add up to 3. So, calculator. Everybody do y equals negative 18 divided by x. And let's see what our factors are. Y equals negative 18 divided by x. What'd you get, Hayden? Positive 6 and negative 3. I agree. Positive 6 and negative 3. Yeah. Okay. So what am I doing with this positive 6 and this negative 3? I'm replacing this guy right here with the positive 6 and the negative 3. So I really have 2x squared plus 6x minus 3x minus 9. And then I'm going to group those. I know that I did it right because 6x minus 3x is a positive 3x. So I know that those terms are right. So what is the greatest common factor that I can take out of 2x squared plus 6x? I can divide both terms by a 2x. I can divide both terms by a 2x. So when I take out a 2x, let's see, 2x squared divided by 2x leaves me with x. Absolutely. 6x divided by 2x leaves me with a, not a 3x, just a 3, right? Plus 3, because those x's cancel out. So it leaves me with x plus 3. Okay. So what can I take out of the last term, the last grouping? A 3. Are both my terms negative? So if both my terms are negative, I want to take out a negative. So we're going to take out a negative 3, okay? So negative 3 times, let's see what's left over. Negative 3x divided by negative 3. Well, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. These cancel out, and I'm just left with x. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 plus 3. Do I have a copycat? I do. I'm going to kind of arrow over. So my copycat, x plus 3 times what's left over, 2x minus 3. Where did my 3 come from right here? Where did that come from? We factored it out at the very beginning. That's our GCF. Okay? Right? All right. Do you guys want to try one more? Okay, so I think that we should try one more. If you don't want to try one more, I'm going to tell you what you have to work on. So you have the sum and product. All you're doing here is just filling out the two numbers. There are 9 questions, sum and product. And then you are doing evens on the factoring when A does not equal 1. Evens on the factoring when A does not equal 1. But for those of you that want the extra practice, I'm going to do one more. I scribbled it on here. So I'm going to do this. 4x squared minus 8x minus 42. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is there a GCF? I'll wait for you guys to write that down. You don't have to do it, but it's good practice. Is there a GCF? Is there something that all of those are divisible by? Dos. Yeah, good job. They're all divisible by 2. Perfect. So we're going to factor a 2 out first. Take a 2, take a 2, take a 2. Originally, I thought it was a 4, but 42 is not divisible by 4. So that's how I knew I had to take out a 2. So when I divide all of those by 2, I have 2x squared minus 4x minus 21. So down here where I'm going to put my answer, I'm going to remember to put that 2 right now in 2 parentheses, because if I don't put it there, I will forget it. If I don't put it there, I will forget it. Okay. So now I'm going to fill out my times plus chart, and I'm going to do this, the X, I'm looking for a times and a plus. So the two numbers that I multiply together are what? What do I get? A times C gives me A times C gives me negative 42. And they have to add up to negative 4. So y equals negative 42 divided by x. We're looking for two numbers that I can multiply together that give me negative 42, that when I add them, I get a negative 4. Is there one? Did I do that right? No, I didn't do that right. 14. Hang on a second. 14 minus 3. This should be an 11. This should be an 11. Lo siento. This should be 11. Yeah, there isn't one. There isn't one. I messed it up. We're just going to leave it like this. Dang it. Sorry, guys and gals. That's what happens when I try to be smart. I try to do that really fast. We don't have any factors for this one. I'm sorry. I just tried to scribble it down really fast and I messed it up. Lo siento. Let's go to your homework. I want to show you what your homework is. So first, we have this. This is homework. This is going to take us how long? How long should this take us? Well, let's see. I just want to show you all you're doing. Two numbers that multiply to negative 6 that add to negative 1. Any ideas? Multiply to negative 6, add to a negative 1. 2 times negative 3. I agree. Okay. What about number 12? Or sorry, number 2. Two numbers that multiply together to negative 12 that add to a negative 11. Multiply together to equal negative 12, add to negative 11. Negative 12 and a positive 1. Yeah. Two numbers that multiply together to 7, Hayden, that add up to 8. I said Hayden. 1 and 7. Those are the hardest ones for me to identify when I multiply by 1. I don't know why, but that just always throws me off. It should be easy, but it messes me up. Okay. Do you guys understand what you're doing? So you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you're going to complete these. 4, 5, 6. They should be very quick. 7, 8, 9. And I'm actually going to wait 6 minutes for you to complete that. I'm going to give you 6 minutes right now, and then I'm going to go to your homework page because I'd like to do 2 problems together with you. I would like to do 2 problems together with you. Shh. Yes, I did. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Complete those, and then we're going to go to our homework page. Remember, if they don't jump off the page to you, this is what you're putting into your calculator. Y equals negative 8 divided by x. Y equals 12 divided by x, right? That's the number that you're trying to figure out the factors for, the product. You already finished yours. Can I check them really fast for you? Okay. Perfect. What does -1 times -7 equal? There you go. You want it to multiply to a +8. You want it to equal a +8, right? Okay, so -8. So that's going to give you -7. How about +8 and -1? Perfect, 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 perfect. So just start with like. Perfect. Good job, dude. We good? Question. What do you mean? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. So give me an example. Give me a problem that you're looking at right now. So number 6, what 2 factors did you get? So for number 6, are we talking about this? Oh, you're on the homework page already? I'll look at it in a second. Is everybody done with this? No? Okay. Huh? Give me an example. I'll help you do one. Okay. So when you have a negative product, that means that one of your numbers has to be positive and one of them has to be negative. And since your sum is positive, that means that the larger number is positive. So let's think of numbers that we can multiply together to get 8. Let's see. 1 times, so 1 and 8. What if I did 1 and 8? And I made the larger one positive and the smaller one negative. What would that add up to? Well, there you go. Is there another one that you guys are confused about? So when your product is positive and your sum is negative, that means both of your factors have to be negative. When your product is positive and your sum is negative, both of your factors have to be negative. Like on Tuesday, Wednesday's not a digital learning day, it's just a day off. No, the week after is a digital learning, virtual learning. Okay. All right, I'm going to go to homework. So we are going to do, I'm skipping this page. We're going to do all of the evens. So let's just start. So for number 2, are there 3 terms? No. There's only 2 terms. And are both of those perfect squares? No. So for number 2, the only way that you can factor this is by taking out a GCF. That's the only thing that you can do here. So what can I take out of each term? Yeah, I can divide both of these by k. So I have to pull my k out front, and that leaves me with what? K squared divided by k is k, and negative k divided by positive k is -1. Okay. Number 4, what is the number that represents a? Like, what is my leading coefficient or the value of a? It's 1. right? When A equals 1, remember, when A equals 1, the factors that you choose from your factor box are the factors you use. That only works when A equals 1. That only works when A equals 1. So let's fill out my times plus. Times plus times plus. Let's see. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6 has to add up to a positive 5. Two numbers that I can multiply together to get negative 6, that when I add them, I get a positive 5. Hayden. Negative 3 and negative 2 give me a positive 6. 6 and negative 1. Yeah, 6 and negative 1. Good job. So remember, I don't have to do any kind of grouping or anything. When A is 1, the factors that you choose are the factors you use. R plus 6, R minus 1. So those first two are just reminders of what we have done in the past. Those first two are reminders of what we've done in the past. Number 6 has a leading coefficient that is not 1. Number 6 has a leading coefficient of 7. So let's do that one together. I'm going to wait for everyone to get this written down because I see some of you guys are still working. Okay, so number 6. Austin, you good? Okay, so number 6. When I fill out my times plus, let's see, 7 times negative 5. What is that? Negative 35 has to add up to negative 34. So I want to do y equals negative 35 divided by x in my calculator. And the larger number has to be negative. The smaller number is going to be positive. The larger number has to be negative. So what are the two factors that I can use? The larger number has to be negative. So I would go to where, like in my table, where my negative numbers come first. Yeah, negative 35 and a positive 1. So I'm going to factor this by grouping. 7r squared minus 34r minus 5. But remember, I'm replacing this guy right here with the negative 35. So 7r squared minus 35r plus 1r minus 5. And I am going to put some little parentheses around it for grouping. Okay. So what is the common term that I can take out of the first grouping? 7r, divide by 7r, divide by 7r. So I'm going to pull that out front. Let's see. 7r squared divided by 7r leaves me with r. Negative 35r divided by 7r leaves me with negative 5. And if I take out, what's the only common factor between 1 and 5? 1. I'm going to take out a positive 1, and that leaves me with r minus 5. Do I have a copycat? I do. Copycat comes first. R minus 5. What do I have left over? What do I have left over? 7r plus 1. There you go. So you have, I think, 5 questions. If you